Hunters often come up with some pet loads or some favorite hand loads for hunting that they rely on year after year, and they may even want to share them with some of their buddies. Well, we've got some loads that worked out really well for us with hunting, and we'd like to share them with you guys. Guy Miner here from UltimateReloader.com. Today, we want to share with you some of our favorite hunting hand loads. Loads that we've found are reliable, accurate, and they do the job on the game animals on which we've used them. So let's get into it. Big game seasons are almost upon us. Bear season's already opening up in some places out west. You hunt in August, it's pretty hot, but it's a possibility. September, boy, if you get one of those rutting bull elk tags, that's fantastic. If not, some of the others are opening up, and then October, November, we get into the main deer seasons, and things are just rocking and rolling for the next few months. We have got some cartridges that we have used quite a bit and got some good loads for, and we're going to share those with you today. You start here on my left with 25-06. That is a personal favorite of mine. I know it's not nearly as popular as it used to be. Don't know why that is. It's a very good cartridge, easy to work with, easy to shoot, easy accuracy, and very lethal on animals deer size and down. I know people have used them for elk, bear, moose, that sort of thing too, but honestly for me, I see it as deer and down is its forte. The load that I've got here in front of us is one that I came up with nearly 20 years ago when hunting with Berger bullets was a pretty new thing and very controversial. As far as I'm concerned, it's no longer controversial. They have worked really well for me. This is the 115 grain Berger VLD, the one they designate for hunting now, which actually has a thinner wall on the jacket than the ones that they sell for the target shooting. Pretty interesting on that. The Bergers are an interesting bullet, and you may not like them. That's fine. There's a lot of bullets to choose from. I happen to really like them. I love the accuracy. I love the fact that they help the gun be more flat shooting than it could be with a more normal type of bullet. These things are very accurate and flat shooting because of a high BC, and they are deadly. The bullets in general on the Bergers tend to penetrate a few inches, meaning you get into the chest cavity, and then there's violent expansion or even fragmentation of the bullet, pretty much trashing those lungs and the heart area and all those big blood vessels in there, leading typically to a very quick drop. Drawbacks? Well, some guys don't like them because they rarely exit. And I get that, so you don't get that exit wound. Okay, fair enough. Berger has their forte, and if you want a different bullet, there's lots of them on the market. So anyway, this 25-06 load, when I first loaded it, I was up there at 3,190 feet per second out of a 24-inch Remington barrel. I'm getting more like 3,150, 3,160 with the same load these days. I don't know if that's a difference in the powder or not. I turned to Retumbo for this, and it's proven very accurate. Good tight SDs, good real nice accurate groups at 100 yards, and I have used this out to 400 on mule deer and about 4 1/4 on various coyotes over the years. It's pretty nasty on coyotes too, by the way. So it's a favorite of mine, but it's an old school long action cartridge, and it's not as popular as it used to be. Moving on up to one of today's most popular cartridges, the 6.5 Creedmoor. And we've got both my load with the Berger Elite Hunter 140 grainer, and then Gavin's load with 143 grain ELD-X. Now those two bullets are they're different. We've already talked about the Berger. The Elite Hunter performs very much like the VLD on game. It's usually easier to get to shoot well out of different rifles. It's got a little more forgiving profile. And you can count on around 2,700-ish feet per second with a 140-ish grain bullet out of the Creed. That's pretty easy to do. I used N555 Vitavori powder. Gave me excellent results, and Gavin stuck with the H4350, which is absolutely no surprise that works really well in the 6.5 Creed with a 140 or 143 grain bullet. Hornys ELD-X is one of those bullets that's meant to do a good job at a wide variety of impact velocity. So whether you're up reasonably close, 100-yard shot, or if you're way out far at 300 or 400 yards or even beyond, that ELD-X can take care of you pretty doggone well. Starting out 2,700 feet per second with that nice high BC bullet, and it doesn't shed velocity very fast. So you've got a very effective mid-range load there. No problem whatsoever. And again, it, like the 25-06, is on the light recoiling side. Really appreciate that. I got my last deer with the 6.5 and the 140, and just a little nudge in the shoulder when I shot, and that's just fine with me. I kind of like rifles that treat you real nice like that. Gavin found out about the Sherman Short a lot when he went over to South Africa and hunted with his friend Pete. And they get over there, and Gavin gets a very nice rifle, and they do some plains game hunting with it. And he had a series of very good kills out at some surprisingly long ranges. We made a couple of videos on that, and he saw some excellent results from a bullet that he now thinks is probably one of the very best hunting bullets for a 6.5 cartridge, especially for thin skin gamed and where you might be shooting a long range out in the open there. And that's a 156 grain Berger EOL, Extreme Outer Limits. It's a hybrid hunter, but as long as we can get in the various 6.5s and spin it up and move it on out of there. Very good for that sort of thing. I'll let the video there speak for itself. He made some amazing shots, did real well, and had a darn good time over there hunting with Pete. Up next, it's only 0.5 millimeter more. It's a 7 millimeter Remington Magnum, old favorite from the early 60s, and I started using it quite a while ago. This is a throwback in a couple ways. It's a belted Magnum, which has gone completely out of vogue anymore. Nobody wants to introduce a new belted Magnum, and ooh, bad belts, okay? But they're not that hard to work around. And I've topped this with the 160 grain Sierra Game King. Soft lead tip, very conventional type of bullet. It's got a boat tail, and it's got that soft lead up front, and it's got a good jacket on there. I was absolutely impressed with it when I used it again just a few years ago on both deer and mule deer and on pronghorn antelope in Wyoming. And I recovered the bullet from the mule deer, about 150-yard shot, and it was actually right under the offside. It had mushroomed out very nicely and hung together, and we've got a picture of that here. That's excellent bullet performance. One shot drop, no problem. Didn't even take a picture of the antelope because I hit him in the neck and made kind of a mess out of that. My fault. But it worked, no doubt about it. Back down to a more mild recoiling cartridge, the 30-30. We took this out a few years ago. I got a doe tag, late season doe tag, and went out in the middle of winter here in Washington State, and we managed to find ourselves some mule deer does and took a shot at a little farther than I was figuring on. I kind of thought with a doe tag I might be able to sneak up through the sagebrush and get myself a 75, 80, 100-yard shot. No, I wound up taking a 170-yard shot first thing in the morning, and I was glad I'd practiced out at 200 and beyond with that. And I optimized the good old 30-30 for these longer range shots by using Hornys FTX bullet. It's a pointed bullet, but it's made to be safe in a traditional tubular magazine lever action rifle, and it works just fine. It's a little bit of a soft tip on there, gives a little bit, so it's fine if it's poked right up against the primer in the next cartridge in that tubular magazine. It is very safe to use, and that's what it's intended to be. People look at it and go, oh, you can't put that pointy bullet in there. Absolutely you can. Hornady offers it in their factory ammo, and also I recommend it for deer ammo. This was a one-shot kill, very quick kill out there at 170 yards. And we actually got some of the bullet at least penetrated and went on out, and I caught a few little fragments of the bullet while I was field dressing, and then I did my own butchering on that one, so I found some more bullet fragments while I was doing that. I sent that out there with 35 grains of Lever Evolution powder, which got me at 2,267 feet per second out of our Henry X model that we used. Accurate load, reliable load, and lethal load even at 170 yards, which is quite a poke for me with a 30-30 and a little 2.5 power loophole scope on there. Moving on up to one of my favorites for deer and larger. I've turned to the 30-06 for everything, it seems like. I've been using it for many years, decades even, and it just works out great. You can tailor it for anything from a real high speed, high velocity, fragile bullet that'll just be dynamite on an antelope or coyote or mule deer, or you can go heavier or a more solid construction. So what I've got here are a couple of them that I've used, and I don't have one here in front of me that I've also used and respect a lot, so I'll talk quickly about those. 165 grain CX, that is Hornys' monolithic bullet. It's all a copper zinc alloy, very tough bullet, and it is fantastic for penetration. We've done some penetration tests with it before and seen over 30 inches of penetration in our blocks, our gel blocks, at high speeds or lower speeds. Worked out really, really well for us. And I've used it on bear just a little over a year ago. One shot drop on that bear. And I think that that is shooting so accurately, and it penetrates so well and expands at normal hunting ranges just fine, that's kind of, I'm looking at that as pretty much my standard, my new standard load for my 30-06 and most of the hunting that I do. Now, two other longer range type loads that I've used in recent years, and I've got one of them here is 178 grain ELD-X, and I went with Ramshot Hunter for that and dropped the velocity down around 2790. I've taken it up as high as 2860 with that, but I didn't see any need to stress out either my shoulder or the rifle cartridge that much. I backed it on down 2790, got some really nice tight groups, and I ended up taking a cow elk with it out at 405 yards. This is definitely a bullet that shines at longer ranges. It will work at closer ranges, but it really shines at long ranges, and it's very, very good at that. It did a fine job. Accuracy is great. It did a fine job of slicing through the wind, and it did a fine job on impact as well. So that was all good stuff. Okay, the 30-06 that I don't have shown here is the one with the 180 grain Berger Elite Hunter, which is another excellent long range bullet. It does what Bergers do well. It's accurate, it flies really, really well, cuts through the air pretty doggone nicely, high BC on that one too, and it's excellent at those one-shot stops that we like to see on our game animals. That's exactly what I got when I got a chance up in Okanagan County a couple of years ago to take a nice fat 3x3. It was a good hunt. I was happy with the 3x3. Made a good shot out there at 350 yards and dropped that deer, boom, just like that. And that's what I like to see when I'm hunting, these instant drops. No tracking involved. Deer's right there where he was, only he's on the ground. I like that. Gavin really loves the next one, his 300 PRC. That's his big boy. It actually, I used to shoot a 300 Win Mag quite a bit, and the 300 PRC is sort of today's version of the 300 Win Mag. It does away with the belt, and it's tailor-made for these longer, heavier bullets. So Gavin's got a great load here with the 212 grain ELD-X. It's a Horny bullet, really good at long ranges, but also with all that bullet mass, it's pretty doggone good even at shorter ranges. Now, he is got that going with 81.1 grains of Stball HD, which I believe is Hodgdon's max for that weight bullet, and it's at almost 2,900 feet per second. With the high BC of that bullet, it retains velocity way downrange, which is kind of funny when you figure out that what Gavin did on this hunting-wise was he took a mule deer not very far from his cabin at a modest range shot with his big 300 PRC. So these are some of our favorite hand loads. They're by no means all the different cartridges and loads that we have used for hunting over the years, especially me. I mean, I started hunting back in the 60s. So, you know, things have come a long way since then. I was just a kid in those days, but yeah, I got my first hunting license almost 60 years ago. And these are some of what we've been hunting with lately and that we feel like we can recommend. Always remember when you're starting to load, check your sources and work up towards these loads. Most of these are at or very near maximum level according to the manuals. So you want to start lower than that and work your way up. Make sure that it's safe in your rifle. Just because we used it and it worked in our rifles doesn't mean it's going to work as well in your rifle. Above all, shot placement is the most effective thing you can do for these quick kills we all want. The bullets matter, the velocity matters, all that, but really putting that bullet right where it belongs, that's the best thing you can do to make those quick, ethical kills on your game animals. What I want to know is, what are you using? What's one of your favorite loads, or a couple of your favorite loads? Tell us about it. What are you hunting with it? How is it working out? And do you think we ought to give it a try? Maybe we can. So drop a comment and we'll have a discussion. I think it's time to wrap this up.
I hope you enjoyed this video. If you're watching Ultimate Reloader on TV and want to take advantage of free resources, exclusives, and hot deals, just hold your camera phone up to the QR code, tap on the link, fill out the information, boom, you're getting Ultimate Reloader emails. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, we're on Facebook, YouTube, Rumble, where we've got unrestricted content, and Instagram. Make sure to follow us on all those channels. Ultimate Reloader also has a commercial solutions division serving law enforcement, the military, and the gun industry. We have some unique capabilities, including a comprehensive suite of recoil testing and evaluation capabilities, trigger profiling, and more. Thanks again for watching.